So obviously we've got to dedicate this article to Paul Walker.
Me too.
So, for Paul Walker.
For Paul.
Furious 7, along with disregarding every naming convention Hollywood has, was by all standards of measurement a pretty fucking good film. Critics and fans lavish praise on the film for its practical effects and its rather touching send-off of actor Paul Walker, which was handled with far more sensitivity than you'd expect for a film that features The Rock elbow dropping a Predator drone using an ambulance. In regards to the practical effects, one of the film's best stunts was actually nearly never filmed for a very stupid reason. The scene I'm of course talking about is when Paul Walker's character, Brian O'Connor, sprint leaps his way off the back of a bus that is currently sliding off the edge of a cliff onto the back of a power sliding supercar. A stunt so ridiculous and over the top, I can't even use hyperbole to make it sound any stupider.
You good?
Thank you.
It's just one of those things where I've just described that scene entirely factually, and it still sounds like I'm using hyperbole. It's fucking ridiculous.
It sounds like a really good advert for like men's aftershave.
No, it sounds like a really good advert for yogurt.
You'll be surprised how easy it is to get into shape.
I think more adverts should be like that. It should just be ridiculous, like over-the-top stunts, and then just some guys like have a yogurt. With the exception of using CGI to remove a few wires and the stunt actor's massive pendulous ball sack, most of what you've just seen in that clip was accomplished for real. As in, an actual real stunt actor ran up a bus that was actually sliding off of a cliff and jumped onto the back of a power sliding supercar.
We obviously had all the safety you can do. He was cabled, but he was really running on it. It really went off a cliff.
You're expecting a joke here, but there isn't one. It's just, that's fucking awesome. The fact they just went, you know what? Yeah. But here's the thing, when that stunt was first pitched by stunt coordinator Spiro Rosatos to the production company, they questioned why it needs to be realised using practical effects, and asked why couldn't they just film it in Georgia instead and fix that shit in post. It's like that. I think that sums up Hollywood right there, doesn't it? The guy goes up and says, yeah, I've got a stunt actor, I've got the crew, we can do this for real. It'll just cost you like a little bit of money, but we can do it for real and it'll look fucking awesome. And they're like, can't we just do it with CGI? Can't we just pay some dickhead on a computer to do it? It's like, we could, but wouldn't it be cooler if we did it for real? And could tell audiences we did this for real, and it adds to the impact of the scene when they can see it happening for real. Because I don't care what Hollywood says, people can tell when it's fucking CGI. You watch the Transformers movies, and you can find a clip of this. There's like, I think there was one, I don't know which, I think it's Transformers Extinction, where all the Transformers explode their way into a factory, and there's a guy at the forefront of the scene who just goes, like a full second and a half after everyone else, oh shit, because that's his mark. His mark is that, and then he reacts to the CGI clusterfuck behind him.
Get out! All the science fair's over, meatbags!
Whereas if it's a practical effect of a real explosion, you can't fake the reaction to that shit.
Oh my God, how do they walk away in movies without flinching when it explodes behind them? There's no way! I call bullshit on that!
Like I said, if you've got a scene where like an explosion needs to happen, if that explosion is entirely CGI, the reaction of actors is just so muted because it's not a thing they can do.
They've realised this though, because in most films now, whenever they have a CGI character or anything like that, they'll always have an on-set cue.
No, don't you mean they always have Andy Serkis?
In a stupid little morph suit.
Oh God. Well, you can see a lot of it, like, all you need to do is watch the making of Lord of the Rings and watch the making of The Hobbit. In Lord of the Rings, I think, I wrote an article on this for Cracked actually, they actually made, I think like 10,000 metres of actual chainmail that was worn underneath practical costumes. So they made real chainmail that was worn underneath the costume. And then in The Hobbit, it was just like, I think there's a famous shot of the Elven army and it's literally the same guy copy-pasted over and over again.
The article you wrote was about how every single bit of armour and stuff had a like different bit of marks.
They've all got backstory. All the Dwarven armour is like square to show out the thing, and all of the Orc and Uruk armour is like scavenged, and you can tell like where they fought in wars and stuff depending on what kind of armour they're wearing. Like The Hobbit looks worse than Lord of the Rings because it's not a real thing. It's like the shot where Legolas slides down that fucking set of stairs and fires all those arrows. That's a real stuntman really sliding down a real set of stairs on the back of a real shield, just shooting arrows. Obviously, like he's on a little...
Probably on a string.
Yeah, he's on a thing. He's got wires to keep it. But it's a real guy doing a real stunt. Then you get the scene of Legolas jumping up the mountain in The Hobbit, where he's the collapsing bridge, and it looks so shit. And then you compare that to like, I'm going to slide down this fucking staircase and get like a 3-hit combo. Do you know something else hilarious about The Hobbit? Evangeline Lilly agreed to appear in the film on one condition. Do you know what that one condition was? I don't want there to be a love triangle in this film. I want to just be a badass elf woman, just some kick-ass shit. And then I think about 6 months before the film was released, she was called in for reshoots. Do you know what those reshoots were for? To add a love triangle between her and one of the dwarves and Legolas. The one thing she agreed to do in the movie and they called her back, it's a fucking hell.
Legolas.
Back to Furious 7, after a brief back and forth between Razatos and production company, it finally emerged why they wanted to move production from Colorado, where they planned to realise the most ambitious stunt of the entire franchise, with practical effects using a real stuntman jumping off the back of a real bus, falling off of a real cliff, and instead move it to Georgia, where they could do all of it with CGI, wasn't for any reason other than money.
Of course it was money.
It's always money, isn't it?
It's always money.
It's always money. And do you know why they wanted to go to Georgia and do that shit with CGI instead of going to Colorado and going, you know what, let's actually do this shit for real? Because Georgia offers tax breaks and Colorado doesn't. That's literally it. They tried to argue that it saves money for the franchise, but it's more just, we need to line our pockets some more. We're not making enough money off this film that, remember, eventually made $1 billion. So it wasn't even like they could film it on location on a mountain cheaper. It's just, if we do it in a studio in Georgia, they'll give us some of our money back. It sums up production companies like, we don't care about the audience. We want to save as much money as possible. It's so cynical. And it was only when Razatos went, look, if we film this for real, the audience will know that it's real. And as well, it'll make a fucking awesome trailer shot. And it was only after begging with the production company for more money, they went, okay then, I guess we'll let you do this.
You'd have thought on Furious 7,
Yeah.
they'd have realised that they're going to make money on it, regardless, and they might want to make a better product.
It's not about making a better product, it's about saving money now. You must save money now. It reminds me of all the shit with Deadpool, where the director was like, can I please just have some money? And Fox was going, you can't have any money, because we don't think it's going to make any money. And it was like, we want to make it R-rated. Okay, but we're taking $2 million off you. Can we have any of the X-Men appear in the film? No, we're not going to pay their salary. So who can we have? You can have Negasonic Teenage Warhead and Colossus.
Negasonic Teenage... What the shit?
And then what happened as soon as it goes out and makes $1 billion fucking dollars? Fox is all up in that money then, aren't they? Like, oh my God, we love this franchise. We're definitely going to greenlight a sequel.
We always had faith in you.
Like, you can look this up, go online and look up the production of Deadpool. It was fucking ridiculous. Fox tried to handicap it at every fucking turn.
That's not good.
When they said we want to make an R-rated superhero movie that's true to the character, Fox went, yeah, but we don't think that'll do well because focus testing has shown that it'll make more money if it's a 12A. And also, we don't think audience will be able to, like, you know, get the whole fourth wall breaking character thing. And they, like, people went, people will get it. I have faith in audience. Fox like, we don't. And as soon as the money makes money, oh, we always have faith in this project. We're never giving this back to Marvel. And the worst bit is as well, do you know what happened after that? When studios are so fucking stupid. When they saw that, they didn't see, oh, here is a movie made with people who understand the source material and the craft that went behind it and had faith that the audience would understand that this has been made for a reason. They just saw, oh wait, R-rated superhero movie.
You came to the wrong conclusion.
Yeah, it pisses me off every time you see it. It's like people look at Marvel and say the reason it's popular is because it's an expanded universe, not because they're well-made movies that understand the characters and are made like with consideration to the history and stuff behind them. It's like, no, it's just an expanded universe. Like Guardians of the Galaxy, when that came out, I think there was two things. That one, Suicide Squad and the new Star Trek movie both went, let's try and make it more like Guardians.
That's a fake laugh.
And they both put like, oh, well, if we just do the trailer, put a couple of jokes in it and some pop music, that's all it needs. It's not this is a really well-made movie by a company who understands the license it's got. It's like, no, it's because it's got pop music in it.
They did reshoots for Suicide Squad.
Yeah, because there was a famous thing that came out where they did the first trailer with all the Queen song in it. And people watched it and went, oh, this movie actually looks good. And they sent it for reshoots after that because they realised all the jokes that were in that trailer were the only jokes in the movie. That was it. They literally cut it and got the only 3 jokes in the entire movie and put them in the trailer and went, oh shit. People actually like superhero movies that are dour and depressing as all fuck. Rosatos eventually managed to convince the company to actually give him the money to film the scene, after begging them not to sully his artistic vision of a Fast and Furious movie. After Rosatos finished filming the scene and the studio realised that holy shit, it looks awesome, they were a little more trustful of the stunt coordinator, so when he went back and asked for just a little bit more money to film just one more stunt he had in mind that involved pushing cars out the back of a plane, they gave him the money straight away, presumably because nowhere offers better tax breaks than the sky. If you enjoyed that video, why not leave a like or a comment or subscribe for Paul Walker. People probably think I take the piss when I'm going like, for Paul Walker, but Brad can confirm I do that shit in real life all the time. Since that movie came out, every time I hear the song See You Again, I just go, for Paul.
Yeah, it got to a point where me and our friend Chris would put the song on and watch Karl, because we knew he'd do it.
It's so ingrained in my personality now when I hear it. Even when people aren't around to see my reaction, I still just like instinctively just go.
Well, it's like Josh for the first month would always raise a drink to Lemmy.
You've got to do it, man. You've got to raise a drink for Lemmy. Lemmy's fucking awesome. But I still, every time I hear that song, I always go, for Paul. Yeah. Because you know what? It is for Paul. And I will see you again.
And any time we mention the film, you'll do it. If I ever mention Paul Walker, you'll do it. All I need to do is in front of you go, for Paul, and you will do the hand over heart thing.
For Paul. For fucking Paul Walker, man. The thing that gets me is if it was just one of the things they do to send off Paul Walker, I'd say it was cheesy and like hammy and a bit forced. But when they're all combined, they just make this perfect moment. Like if it was the bit where he's on the beach with his wife and kids jumping around and all the actors are going, man, he's really happy, isn't he? It's time we left him. That'd be too much. If it was the one where he pulls up next to Vin Diesel and goes, one more ride, that'd be too much. If it's the bit where he's in his white car, symbolising heaven, and goes on a different path over the mountains into the distance as it fades to white, that'd be too much. If it was the song played over the montage of him from Fast and Furious 1 all the way up to this film, that'd be too much. But when they're all together, you're just like, no, Paul, why? Any one of them on its own would be like, that's kind of crass, that's kind of offensive. But when they're all together, you're like, no, Paul, what? Fucking hell. What a great movie that is. Right, I'll do. Fuck it.
Hey, Karl. For Paul.
For Paul. Fuck off, don't it? For fucking Paul, man.